Dan Bongino is an NRA TV contributor. He's a former Secret Service agent, knows a lot about firearms, and he joins us tonight. Dan, it's good to see you. So you hesitate even to do a segment like this or a show like this because so strong is the social sanction against anybody who asks sober questions about what these kids are calling for. But is there anything, given that you have heard this march advocate for that you think sincerely would reduce school shootings or gun violence?
No, Tucker, and I'm being candid with you. I haven't. I have not heard that. I mean, I know from my experience in law enforcement that criminals don't give a rat's behind about gun laws. They just don't care. A matter of fact, gun laws are one of the few laws that put a perimeter around the fence of law-abiding people, but do nothing to put a perimeter around the behavior of the non-law-abiding, the criminal, because they just don't care. They get the guns on the street. And I think we saw in Maryland recently, the only thing that's going to stop a person committed with evil in his heart to doing chaos, death, and destruction is a good guy, in fact, trained with a firearm.
I wonder, so there are going to be a lot of well-known, powerful, affluent people at tomorrow's march, on morally on display, like peacocks. If they really believe that guns are the problem, I wonder how many of them will bring armed bodyguards with them. And shouldn't a prerequisite of this conversation be, if you're going to advocate for gun control, you live by those standards? Why don't they, I wonder?
Because, Tucker, we're not involved in a war of facts and data and reason arguments anymore. We're involved right now, we're knee-deep in gaslighting. Gaslighting is what the media has been doing to us in conjunction with their liberal buddies and their acolytes for a long time. It's the idea that if you repeat a lie often enough, you repeat it confidently, and you isolate people from the truth, that lie will in fact become an alternate reality. We start with the Trump collusion that nobody can produce a scintilla of evidence. But, Tucker, I guarantee you, if you were to take a poll of Americans, especially liberals, probably 50% or more think it actually happened. The same thing goes for the narrative that the media wants to propagate now. The media is guns are bad, guns are the sole problem. The human being and the evil in the human heart that's existed for as long as we've been around is a non-issue. Let's not focus on that. And whatever they have to do to isolate you from the truth, simple facts like gun ownership's gone up in the United States, gun violence has gone down. That's just a simple way to do a simple correlation, and that's left out of the argument entirely because it doesn't fit the media's pre-existing worldview.
What would happen if these people, the left, right now in their current state of mind, if they took power, if they had the White House in both chambers of the Congress?
Tucker, it's pretty terrifying. I mean, I have to be candid with you. They don't really stand for anything, the left, other than the acquisition of power. I mean, they can't even stick with a coherent narrative. You know, I was chatting with someone earlier, and I said to them, you know, it's fascinating how they put so much credence into these kids marching tomorrow. And thank God they're out there doing it. Good for you. I celebrate your big R right to assemble and free speech. But the same victims of crime who are victims of terror, the angel parents who've lost kids to illegal immigrants, do you notice how the media seems to sideline their voice? They can't even stay consistent on the narrative. These people frighten me because, Tucker, they have no lodestar. And when you don't have principles guiding you and nothing's objective and everything is subjective, that gets really rough. The whole idea of the Bill of Rights was to prevent that.
So this is a question I ask myself a lot. Do you think that the rest of us make a mistake by acting as if this is a rational debate, that we can win people over and here are the facts and I've thought a lot about this and here's my position on it? Maybe we're talking to people who literally don't care what we say or what the facts are or what conclusion reason leads us to. They just want power and they're not really interested in debating. Do you ever think that?
Yeah, they're not interested in debating, Tucker. Go back and YouTube liberal comments on an issue, and they've taken opposite positions on the same issue in an effort to get votes to go away and minimize the individual and empower themselves later. Dangerous stuff.
God, I spent my whole life doing this. I hope it adds up to something. I hope that someone can be won over. It's not just
me too, brother.
Blowing in the wind. Dan, thank you.
Yes, sir.